Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, for the past couple of days, I've been seeing articles about this particular story, and I decided to bring that discussion to YouTube. So, I'm going to share a couple of articles with you and read some excerpts from these articles, and then I'm going to share my thoughts about these particular articles. Um, so, the first article, let me first share my screen. This first article is from the grill. And I'm also going to go ahead and play video footage so that you all can see what we're talking about here. So, this article says that husband and wife Mark and Patricia McCloskeys aimed guns at protesters who walked by their mansion in Forest Park, Missouri. And it says that the protesters were headed to St. Louis mayor's home to demand her resignation after she read the names and addresses of people who had submitted a letter demanding that she defund the city's police department. Now, before I get into this couple and then pointing guns at people, I mean, we just have to talk about this whole thing. Putting out private information about people who are protesting, their addresses and all that kind of stuff is very dangerous. It is jeopardizing people's lives. You have people that are threatening these protesters. So by putting their information out of there, you're jeopardizing their safety. So I can understand why the protesters were out in force to demonstrate against these people, against this particular mayor and what she had done. So as they were walking to the mayor's house, they passed this mansion where these two lawyers live. This couple are some white people who are lawyers. And as the crowd is passing them by, these people get out of their home and they take out guns. One has a small handgun and the other has what looks like an assault rifle. And I'm going to go ahead and play this footage right here for you so you can see it for yourself. Hopefully you can hear fine as well. So as you can see, that couple had guns. One has an assault rifle, one has a handgun, and nobody is threatening these people at all. Nobody is posing any kind of threat to these people. They are walking past them. You have a couple of protesters who are engaging them in a conversation or argument, but they are not anywhere near their home. They're not close to their home. As you can see, there's a huge distance between these protesters and this couple. So nobody is posing a threat. Nobody else is armed, as far as I can see from the video. So these people are engaging in intimidating, threatening behavior against the protesters. People are simply trying to exercise their First Amendment rights. Nobody should be threatened simply for exercising their freedom of speech in this country. And it's just crazy that this would happen. So you had this couple threaten these people. And at this point right now, as far as we know, no charges have been filed against this couple. No charges at all, even though they're pointing guns at people, threatening people, engaging in criminal activity. And the thing that's so odd is that these are attorneys. They should know the law. They should know that what they're engaging in is a criminal act. And I hope, and I'll get into this in a minute, but I hope that charges are brought against these people. So it goes on to talk about how these these people own this law center. You know, they have a family practice and they're doing very well. This house is a mansion, as you can tell from the video. Um, and they're actually representing somebody who was attacked by the police, according to this article. So, as you know, like this couple lives in the same community as this mayor. So that's the reason why the protesters are walking by the house. It is not even like a situation where the protesters are coming to their house or targeting their house. They're simply walking past these people's houses, their house, rather. So it goes on to talk about what happened with this mayor who read the names and addresses of the people who support defunding the St. Louis Police Department. Um, you know, it says that they had deleted that Facebook Live video where she made the announcement, passing on this private information. It goes on to talk about how she issued an apology after this. So that's the situation. And then you have this other article that talks about how the prosecutor is conducting an investigation of this couple. It says that the prosecutor is contemplating whether a pair of married lawyers broke any laws on Sunday when they aimed their firearms at nonviolent protesters who were walking past the couple's house. Now, it would be a different situation if you had a riot going on, a so-called riot going on, and property was being damaged and lives were being taken or threatened or anything like that. But here you have nonviolent protesters simply walking past this house, and these deranged, overly privileged white people think that they have every right to point guns at unarmed people who are not threatening them at all. And it talks about that video that I showed you. It talks about how it received like 13 million views by Monday. And this, you know, that's the video that I played before. The prosecutor said that she was alarmed at the events that occurred over the weekend where peaceful protesters were met by guns and a violent assault. And that's what this is. This is an assault. And I think that, you know, this is probably is a violation of the law. And what I'm going to do is just read the definition of assault from the Black Law Dictionary, Black's Law Dictionary. And it defines an assault as this. And the laws are different in every state. You know, I'm not familiar with the law in St. Louis, but I'm sure it's similar. But it says an assault, you know, this is how it defines an assault. Any willful attempt or threat to inflict injury upon the person of another when coupled with an apparent present ability to do so and any intentional display of force as would give the victim reason to fear or expect immediate bodily harm constitutes an assault. An assault may be committed without actually touching or striking or doing bodily harm to the person or another. And so if you just break this down, you had a situation here where the couple had a present ability to cause injury. You know, they had two guns. You had one gun that was a handgun, another gun that was an assault rifle. And it says a willful attempt or threat. When they were pointing those guns at the protesters, they were threatening those protesters with violence. And also, it talks about how this intentional display of force will give the victim reason to fear or to expect immediate bodily harm. Those people had every reason to fear this couple because they were pointing these dangerous weapons at them. So, you know, this may be an assault and it may, you know, be a grounds for some kind of legal action. And I hope that these people are prosecuted, man. when I think about this whole situation, I think about Tamir Rice, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. These articles are posted in the description box so that people can check them out for themselves. But I think about the situation of Tamir Rice and I compare it to this situation. Tamir Rice, is a young black boy who was basically on a playground with a toy gun, just playing around. And the police arrived on the scene after receiving some call from someone in the neighborhood. They arrive on the scene, and within seconds of arrival, they shoot and kill this young brother. And he wasn't posing any kind of threat to anyone. He was, it was a toy gun. His life was taken. But here you have a couple that are pointing real guns at nonviolent protesters, threatening these people's lives. And from what I can tell, no police were called to the scene. I mean, no police came to the scene. There was no arrest, and no action has been taken yet. There's an investigation going on, but nothing has taken place yet. It's just another reminder of double standards that we see in society. A while ago, shortly after governors around the country began to have stay-at-home orders because of the COVID-19 virus, you had these right-wing militia groups, these right-wing political groups come out and they stage protests at capitals around the country, at state capitals around the country. And they weren't just non-violently protesting, having some signs singing "We Shall Overcome" or any of that. They actually came to these state capitals armed with weapons, assault rifles and such. But they weren't considered terrorists or anything like that. They weren't considered criminals or thugs or, people out to riot or anything like that. They weren't viewed in the same light as the protesters are today, the people that are demanding justice for all these victims of police brutality. No, these people that had guns at these state capitals were celebrated by your president, by Donald Trump. He celebrated those people. And you had news outlets calling these people patriots and stuff. You had these right-wing conservative commentators calling these people patriotic, calling them virtually calling them heroes. But these same people want to demonize those who are protesting against police brutality. And, if you had that many black people, if you had a black couple pointing their guns at some white protesters or at white people, they would have been arrested, if not killed, immediately, just like the brother Tamir Rice. And it just goes to show you the bias that we have in this society and the level of privilege that we have in this society. Because this family, this couple are rich lawyers, I think that it's highly unlikely that they'll probably be convicted or anything. So I just had to share my thoughts about this situation with you. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate it. I know it's super late right now. Hopefully people will check this out on the playback. But it's almost as if, the Second Amendment rights are something celebrated when white people exercise those rights. And in this case, this is not just about somebody exercising rights. This is about people terrorizing peaceful, law-abiding protesters. That's what it is. But you have black people trying to defend themselves from police brutalities, and we're labeled as some kind of radicals or some kind of fanatics or something like that, some extremists or whatever. So yeah, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I may do one more live stream before I go to sleep tonight. So let's see what folks are saying before I close out. So Renaissance Man says, I hope they press charges against them. They are lawyers. They should know better. I think the woman is on the Missouri Bar Association's ethics committee. Yeah, that would be absolutely crazy if you're on a committee that deals with ethics and here you are terrorizing people. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna say peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I may again be back on here in a couple of minutes with another live stream. Peace and blessings. Please rate, comment, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe now. Hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content. Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a great night.